Hi everyone, this is Fred. Today's tutorial is about accuracy in isometric drawing. On the first tutorial, I was talking about some simple method to quickly build something according to the isometric rules, and it just needed to be consistent and plausible. Like this illustration here, when you can see that you can read the space, you can understand where each element is. So it's quite fine. This is the way I do it when I make some isometric drawing freestyle, and sometimes I can even go further and having some fun with something which is impossible but fun to do. But of course there are some parts that are impossible to exist in a volumetric world, so you can have a lot of fun doing this, just following the grid and rotate the element you need, and it's perfectly fine. But I know that in some cases we may need to have something which is really accurate. It means that every measurement has to be right. So in that case, we need to add one more step to what we did earlier. And that's what we will see today. Okay, so I explain. As you can see here, we have some two-dimension shapes, 2D polygons, and they all have a link, they all have a relationship, there is some proportion that they share. Okay, so we have a circle, we have octagon, hexagon, we have a star, and we have two squares. So you remember that on the first tutorial I mentioned this relation between the circle and the square, and this is how we did our ellipse, which is a circle in isometric drawing. So what we have to keep in mind is in 2D you have some relationship like this between the elements, and you have the same thing in 3D. It means that the proportion, the ratio, the construction are the same whatever is 2D or 3D. And by 3D I mean parallel perspective like isometric here, or even linear perspective, something we may see later. So what I mean is, if you have, in that case, all these shapes, they fit the circle somehow. Something like the square is outside, another square is inside, and but all the elements, they have all their faces or some structure that touch the circle all the time, which means that we are supposed to have the same link when we, the same effect that applies when we draw in isometric. So if we start by following the rule we said before, I'll for instance take this star. What I will do is we just follow the rules, skewing and rotating. So I just do something simple. I say minus 30 and 30. And what I have is I flatten my star, I put it like on some kind of ground, on my isometric ground, and as you can see, if you can see the box around the star, it totally matches the grid, so it's isometric and it's what we want. So everything is fine. So we can draw like this and play like this. But there is something which is a little bit wrong. I wouldn't say wrong, but not totally accurate. As you can see, my star is supposed to totally fit the circle, because if it works in 2D, it should work in 3D. That's why I told you before. And in that case, you can see that it's not the case. You see that you miss some part here, and even if we just increase a little bit the size, we never reach totally the side of a circle. So there is something which is not totally accurate. For me, when I draw, like you saw before, this bedroom and other things, I don't mind. This is something just about illustration that just have to be plausible. But you may have to do something accurate in some assignments. So there is one step to add. I take my star. I will just change the color of this one a little bit. Bit darker, And this star, I would do the same thing, but before, since I have to flatten it, I will first reset it. I reset to be 100% here. That's what you do when you move things. You change the things. If you want them to make like basic and go back to start, you play reset. You press reset. So now I am in reset. I would change the height, and I will use a specific coefficient, which is 86.602. 86.602, but I know that VectorStyler will make it rounded 86. Once I have this, I can do my previous minus 30 and 30. Okay, so apparently we are doing the same thing, but there is a difference, which is this time we will match actually our circle. Let's see that. Okay, I'm struggling a little bit because of snapping with the grid. So now you can see the difference between the two stars. If I take this back, and you see that this one, I just need to reduce it a little bit, but with the snapping is not super easy, but you get the point that actually this time we are touching everywhere. So it means that with this slice reduction of the height before I rotate, it means that in that case I am more accurate and I match the shape I am inside. So it means you have to do it for every of the object to be sure that this time they will be accurate. And once you've done that, it's okay. So I spare myself this step most of the time by using just the skewing and rotating. It looks fine, like I said before, for a simple illustration, but if you really are willing to do something very accurate, you need to add this step when you build isometric shape. The good point with that is there is some function in VectorStyler, and you can automate the process. So this is what we are going to see now. Okay, so in order to automate these settings, to apply these settings in one click to each of the shape here, we will use what we call the actions in VectorStyler. So you go to Panels, Presets, Actions, and then you will see that the panel, Actions panel will appear somewhere on your working space, maybe not here, of course. So actions are like scripts or automator in some of the software. It consists in a series of moves and actions you apply to some object, some shape, and they are recorded. And once they are all recorded, this series of moves, you can just apply them in one click. So it's really interesting and time-saving for everything which is repetitive. And in the case of isometric drawing, you have a lot of repetitive tasks like taking shapes and put them left, right, top, etc. So it can be quite smart to create these actions. Sometimes you just want to draw freely like I usually do and I show in the previous tutorials, but sometimes you can just draw things flat and then apply the settings, and you're sure to be, in that case, accurate. Okay, so the first thing, I go to my action panels and I will create a new folder that I will call Isometric. Well, it was quite expected. Okay, and inside this isometric folder, why a folder? Because I will need an action for each of the settings I want, like top right, left, top right, left and right. So inside this isometric folder, I will put the 4 different moves I need. So I will use this dummy here, the star here, the gray one. I will apply the settings to this and record it at the same time. And then later I will apply the recorded action to each of these shape on the top. This shape, you can see, I started with a star, but it's a little bit different. The idea was just to make things which are not totally symmetrical, so you can see more easily the settings which are applied, because sometimes when a shape is totally symmetrical, it's not easy to understand which settings have been applied. Okay, so I take my star, and here inside my isometric I will start to record, and I will give a name. I will follow the order from left to right, so I go for top left. Okay, right now I'm still recording, and so I will go to the transform panel. First thing I do is I check that there is no lock here already, because I just want to change the vertical size. So I apply the settings we just saw of 86.6. Then I can apply my rotation of -30 and my skewing, my horizontal skewing of 30. Okay. So once I have this, I have my top left rule applied to my star. So what I'm going to do, I just stop to record here, up, and it's done. Now you can see here top left, and if I open this group, I can see scale, rotate, skew, which are the three functions I just applied. And so now I want just to keep it like this. It's perfect. I go back to my star, Command Z, Z, Z. I just check on the panel that everything is all right here. Still everything is 100%, and unlock. Okay, and now I can create the second one, which will be the top right. So I will be the three following in a time lapse, and then we will come back to apply the action to the shapes on the top here. Okay, let's go. Okay, so now we have done all the settings, all the action we need, and now it's very easy. You just need to apply it. So you select the first shape here, top left, you go to the top left action you want to apply, and you play it playback here, and immediately you take the shapes you want. Go to the top right, you go top right here, and immediately it applies. You see, so that's why also I wanted to show the difference using not symmetrical shapes, because if they were too symmetrical you wouldn't see the difference. So same things for left, I go to left and up, I apply it, and right, I go to right, sorry, and I apply it. Okay, and so now you can see that in one click I applied three settings immediately to the shapes I need. So it's quite convenient and very time saving to do these kind of things when you want to apply a very specific measurement to your isometric drawing. So that's all for today. The next tutorial will be about how to create an ice cream truck in isometric settings. Thank you for watching. See you soon. Bye bye.